Welcome to the Shiproom, where we learn from tech leaders at some of the world's most successful companies. I'm Brad Anderson. I'm the Vice President of Microsoft 365. Today I'm joined by Bobby Ford, who is the CISO of Unilever. Just a phenomenal company. This is an organization that has more than 450 products that are used by more than 2.5 billion people every day. How do you balance all of the work that you have to do from a security perspective in your role as a CISO across an incredibly distributed global organization?
I'm fortunate to work for an organization that's as large as Unilever is. Some of our key products would be around tea, soup, soap, ice cream, personal beauty care products, and being the CISO for that, I sort of see my job as I'm responsible for ensuring that those products, are secure and that they're available, so that when customers decide to make the purchases and they go out to buy our products, that they're there on the shelves.
In your role, you're kind of a CISO that wants to say yes to things, not no to things. Yes, let's go figure out how to do it by engaging in and understanding the business. Can you tell me a little bit about how you help your team to really engage themselves to understand the business so they can help make the right business decisions with the risk management?
Anyone who knows me will tell you that I immediately say, listen, I'm not the captain of the no police. I'm not interested in working with a bunch of individuals who find it easy and comfortable just to say no. I believe that the responsibility of our group, the cybersecurity risk management group, is to enable the business to take risk. Let's say that, you, Brad, hire me to provide you with security services, and then you say, hey, Bobby, listen, I want to go to downtown DC. And I said, you know what, Brad, you can't go there because it's dangerous or a risk with going there. And then you said, okay, Bobby, I want to go to the east side of Los Angeles. And I said, you know what, Brad, you can't go there. It's dangerous. There's a risk with going there. Eventually, you're going to say, Bobby, that's why I hired you. I hired you so that I could take risk. If I didn't want to take risk and I didn't want to go to these dangerous places, then I wouldn't need to hire you to provide me with security services. And so that should be our same approach from a cyber perspective when we're dealing with the organization, recognizing that the organization has to take risk. That's what it means to be in business. And that our responsibility is to ensure that they have the right level of controls that have been deployed so that they can manage the risk.
I talk with a lot of CISOs, and there's a conversation with many of them about having your data and having reliance upon the cloud. Is that more or less secure than having everything on-prem?
I think it depends on what you mean by cloud and who the cloud provider is. When I hear the term cloud, all I immediately hear is someone else's hardware, someone else's physical assets. So that's immediately what I think of. And then once I think of that, I think of, does that provider have the capabilities? Does that provider have the resources? Does that provider have the wherewithal and the knowledge in order to create a secure environment? And if they do, then absolutely, I'm a firm believer that there is the opportunity to be more secure in the cloud than you are on-prem, but you have to look at the individual use cases and you have to look at that provider and then what you're capable of doing on-premise.
I think we've all seen the Unilever logo on the back of a lot of products. But what people may not know is within that logo, there's 25 different objects that represents the catalog of Unilever products. I'm going to give you a list of items, some of which appear in the logo and some of them which do not. So your job is to identify, is this part of the logo or not part of the logo?
I'm intrigued.
First of all, lips, to represent beauty, looking good, and taste.
I'm going to say no-go.
A quesadilla, to remind us that we all need a snack sometimes.
Did you say a quesadilla? Make sure I heard it. So, you don't spend a lot of time in the UK, do you?
Hey, but maybe it came from the Dutch side. That's a no-go.
Strong no-go.
Okay, sparkles, to represent cleanliness, healthiness, and energy.
I would have to see what the sparkles look like. We're going to say logo.
DNA, symbolizing Unilever's commitment to bioscience.
That one is definitely a logo.
A sauce, to symbolize the blending of flavors and taste. And it looks like a little swirl.
Oh, that's definitely a logo because I thought it was ice cream at first.
4 angry ghosts, as a simple reminder to all of us to never run afoul of ancient ways.
Ooh. That should be a logo, but I'm gonna say no go.
And finally, a wombat to show solidarity with all marsupials. I like what you said about how the security team needs to understand how the business works. So how do you ensure that your security team is best educated on the business?
For me, a mature cyber strategy happens at the intersection of business intelligence and then threat intelligence. Recognizing that if all you do is gather threat intelligence, and by threat intelligence, what I mean is if all you know is about the vulnerabilities and you know about what the adversary is doing and you know about, the likelihood of an attack, that's only half the equation. So you'll only be halfway successful. So you could give it all you have and you can deploy all your technology and you can develop the best strategy. But if it lacks business intelligence, it just won't be successful. And then once you fundamentally understand that, you recognize that in order for you to deploy that strategy, there has to be a conversation. Like, you want the business to have some skin in the game. You want them to help you to prioritize. You want them to help develop the strategy so that it's not, you don't make these decisions in a vacuum. Let's say that you want someone to come out and you want them to deploy a security system in your home. And they say, okay, what do you consider to be the most valuable room in the house, right? Because that's half the equation. You have to tell them that. The person providing the security service, they can't tell you that because they don't know your home like you know your home.
It's a challenge of communication and collaboration, or an opportunity of communication and collaboration, and that's how you get the best outcomes both for the business and for the security of the business.
As a security professional, as a cyber professional, you have to be really good at listening. Like, you really have to listen.
Well, hey, we're getting a phone call coming in here. You're here on the Shiproom. Who is this?
Hey guys, it's me, a cow, Moo.
You got a question for Bobby?
Well, I don't know if you guys heard, but while the whole world screeched to a stop, we cows kept doing our, milk thing. So we're really ramping up ice cream production. And since Unilever makes more ice cream than anyone else, I want to pitch Bobby on new flavors.
Yes.
Okay, Moo. Holla at your boy. A kosher product with vanilla custard ice cream, raisins, caramel swirls, and chunks of challah bread.
Love it. Shout at your boy.
Nacho Man Randy Savage. Avocado ice cream with cheddar cheese sauce ribbons, corn chips, and candy corn.
Oh yeah.
The Keto My Heart. Greek yogurt, hazelnuts, chia seeds, and a 16-ounce steak. Now that I think about it, that one's pretty dark coming from me.
I'm gonna say pass on that. I don't think, pass.
I have a very particular set of dills. Prepare yourself for the taste sensation that comes from combining strawberries, blackberries, and pickles.
I love the name of it, and I think that people will enjoy it because of the name. So yeah, that's a keeper.
There's more where that came from.
I hope not.
No, I mean, that's the last one. It's called There's S'more Where That Came From. It has a marshmallow base with chocolate and graham crackers. And they think there's a real opportunity for some moolah here.
Thanks for joining us on the show. Any final questions you have for Bobby?
When you look at your current set of challenges, and when you look 5 years ahead at the challenges on the horizon, what do you need security vendors to do better or do more of to help you stay ahead of security threats?
I know what I look for is an opportunity to create a frictionless user experience. So anything that enables me to better secure the environment, so enhance security while at the same time improving UX, like I'm all about that.
The moral importance of inclusion and diversity and equality is something that is near and dear to you and I both, and to both our organizations. And I'm curious how the importance of this is emphasized and presented inside of your business.
One of the reasons that I came to Unilever is because Unilever truly takes diversity seriously. I remember looking at the scheduled interviews, and I could tell just by the names from the interviewers that Unilever took diversity seriously. That if you really take diversity seriously, then even in the recruiting process, that should manifest itself.
In what ways do you think bringing diversity of perspectives, experience, diversity in its broadest perspective of the definition, how does that increase security for our organizations?
I think the simplest answer would be that the adversary is diverse. It's hard to combat and defend against a diverse opponent when you lack diversity. I think that's the first, right? That's the quick and the easy answer. I think if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll understand that diversity also means diversity of thought. And I really want to be clear when I say this, that I want to see diversity, but also want to hear diversity. And when you start hearing diversity and diversity of thought, it forces you to either A, improve and solidify your position, or B, understand if you need to take a new position.
There's so much in the news right now about inequality, about racism, and there's just so much work to do. I'm just curious, as you think about the work that we as a society need to do, what are the kind of things that that come to mind that we need to really work on?
I realize and I recognize and fully appreciate how difficult a topic this is to talk about. It's a difficult topic for me to talk about. And I can even start the conversation off by talking like from the perspective of what's it like to be a black dude and to talk about other black people when everyone is talking about black people. And the reason why it's a difficult topic for me to talk about is because I've spent my entire career trying to avoid that conversation, because the last thing I want anyone to see when they see me is to see a black man. And what I mean by that is I want you to see an intelligent man. I want you to see a strong man. I want you to see a competent man, a capable man. I don't even want you to see my color. I just want you to see the talent, the skills, the ability that I bring to the table. That's what I want you to see. But we have to talk about this. And I think my 11-year-old son, he said it best, right? I was talking to him about everything that's happening, and I was talking to him about injustices, and he was like, I just think we got to say something. And I'll be honest with you, Brad, it hit me on an emotional level that nothing has ever hit me on. Because again, remember what I just said, I spent my entire life not talking about it. Here's what I'll say about it, is that you have to have the conversation. And you have to remember that a conversation has two components, right? Talking is one part of it, but listening is also a component of it. And if you don't know what to say, and this is counsel I would give to any leader, if you don't know what to say, then say that and then just listen. And you would be surprised at the feedback that you'll get. If you don't know what to say, then just listen and then be receptive to the feedback and to the material that you receive.
The number one question that I get, I lead the diversity and inclusion efforts for all of Microsoft 365. The most common question that I get from people is, I'm worried to have the conversation, worried that I'm going to say something wrong. The reality is you will. You just hope that there's grace on both sides where, when you do say something wrong, that, people are able to help you understand what it was and that you are graceful in how you receive that feedback, but you have to have the conversation.
I don't want to use the word confident, but that's how I feel, right? I feel confident that this time is different. And I think what sparked this movement and what makes this movement so powerful is that it's the first time that we've collectively, and I do say we because I think it's like we're all in this together. I think it's the first time collectively we recognize how loud silence is.
While we're talking, we have some AI capabilities that listen in to the conversation, identify what the key topics are, and come up with 12 questions that are most aligned with the topics we've been talking about for the last few minutes. And we call it the database dozen. Your company makes a lot of stuff. Shouldn't it be called multi-lever? Is British food underrated, overrated, or correctly rated?
Correctly rated.
Who's going to win in an arm wrestle, Ben or Jerry?
Jerry.
So you spent some time in the Army. How many push-ups could you do right now?
With no one looking, I could do 45. With someone looking, I could do a cool 30. Once we get beyond 30, Brad, it gets really ugly.
What was St. Ives the saint of?
Oh, that's a great question. I have no idea.
Have you ever had a full English breakfast and not regretted it?
No.
Do you think the Queen uses email?
Absolutely.
Shouldn't deodorant be called pre-odorant?
When used correctly, it should be.
Ice cream flavored shampoo or shampoo flavored ice cream?
Ice cream flavored shampoo.
At the Lipton factory, is spilling the tea gossip or a serious industrial accident?
A serious industrial accident.
Final question. Are the Slim Fast division and the ice cream division on speaking terms?
We're all on speaking terms.
Hey, thanks for being on the Shiproom here with us, Bobby. It's been nothing but a pleasure. And I love the way that you balance the need of security with the needs of the business. I think it's an example for all of us to listen to. So if anybody wanted to learn more about you personally or get in contact with you about Unilever, where would they go?
So you could always go to unilever.com. And me personally, you can always visit me on LinkedIn.
That's a wrap with the Shiproom. We'll see you next time.
My peanut butter cup runneth over. This one is just a frozen jar of peanut butter. That's it.